My wedding was a criminal scheme, my family knew it, then forced me to apologize for being furious. I want to apologize for how long this ended up getting. It was cathartic for me to let it all out and explain my side, and I got a little carried away. 26 am getting married later this year to my fiancé 27 who I have been with for 8 years. We have been engaged for a few years now. The initial venue we found was a state over, and was owned by a friend of my bio father. My relationships with my bio father and his family has always been complicated, but at the time we were on good terms and the venue was close to where they live, so I was hoping that would bring us closer. The venue was beautiful, and we were able to book most of our vendors through their preferred vendor network. We paid our $500 deposit and we had booked it 1.5 years before our initial wedding date. As we approached the 7-month mark, my fiancé and I decided it would be best to put off the wedding for 1 more year, so that we could finish up college and have more time to save. We reached out to the venue owner and he said he would pencil in the date change for us. No problem. During that call, I mentioned I was going to reach out to the other 2 preferred vendors we had booked, and the owner let them know that they no longer work with those vendors due to some disputes, and advised us to seek out different vendors. He also said he would love to still work with us though, and is happy we are still interested in having our wedding at their venue. That comment gave me a bit of a weird vibe, but I thanked him for the information and went to call my bio father's family to give them the heads up. My bio father's reaction at the time was a little weird. When we first booked the venue, he was so excited. He acted very proud that he was the one who made it happen by referring us to the venue. But on this call, he was like, "Oh, in that case, have you considered doing a different venue altogether? Maybe something closer to where you live currently?" I thought the change of pace was odd and uncharacteristic of him, but didn't say anything at the time. I told him no, and that I still liked the venue, and that was the end of that. Now that we moved the date, I remembered a photographer that we really liked that was not available for our original date, and decided to reach out to him to see if he was available for our new date. The photographer ended up sending us a response about a week later, essentially saying that he was available and would love to work with us but was not comfortable shooting at the venue, stating one of the owners is someone who has been involved in some pretty wildly inappropriate and illegal activities. And letting us know he wasn't judging us for using that venue, but was not willing to associate his name with their venue. Needless to say, I was confused as hell, so I responded, "Wait, what? Illegal activity? This is the first we are hearing of this. I'm a bit alarmed now. What am I missing?" In the response I got, the vendor apologized for stirring things up and sent me a link to 2 articles. The first one was from 2020 and was about the owner, my bio father's friend. It stated that he was caught and arrested in a child PR****** sting trying to meet up with a minor, cop posing as a minor, near a local school. The second one was actually for a close relative of my bio father's friend, who was the co-owner of the venue. It was an article from 2024, in which he was arrested for unlawful use of a weapon, DUI, menacing, and criminal trespass after drunkenly waving around a gun and threatening people unprovoked to convenience. I was shocked and horrified. I thanked the photographer and continued to do more research. I uncovered some more really concerning reviews regarding the owner's conduct. I called my bio father to give him the heads up about his friend, and that was when he told me that they had known for over a week. I felt hurt that they hadn't said anything and expressed that, but also tried to empathize with them and said that I wish I could have heard from them, but understand that they didn't have much time to process the information either, and that the decision of whether or not to tell me would have put them in a hard spot. I said I just need a little bit of space to process the information, but that I am not mad, just disappointed. When I got off the phone, I went to share the news with my stepsister, who I considered a very close friend and was even one of my bridesmaids. I texted her saying, "So, might not be using venue anymore." She responded with, "Yeah, why?" I called her at this point because it was easier and said, because it sounds like venue owner is a pedophile and other venue owner is a GN-wielding psycho. And her response, "Oh, what drove you to that conclusion? I don't know about you, but I expected a very different reaction." Her lack of surprise clued me in immediately, and I said, "You already knew that, didn't you?" Turns out she had known for over a month and didn't say anything. To be honest, I wasn't surprised my bio father and stepmother didn't say anything, but I considered stepsister a very close friend and it hurt my feelings a lot that she didn't say anything. I also found out that my bio father and stepmother knew at least a month beforehand, as my stepsister brought both articles to them when she found out and they convinced her not to say anything. I got off the phone because I was pretty upset and didn't want to take it out on her. But I let her know that I didn't blame her, and I still loved her, I just needed a little bit to collect my feelings. After that, she talked a bit more over text. She let me know that she really did want to tell me and that it was weighing on her a lot, but she was afraid because she didn't want to be cut off by the family, and her mother kept bullying her, telling her I would hate her for digging up dirt on my venue. She sent screenshots of the messages from them, which did in fact confirm her story. I told her I acknowledge that, and that. Just wish my feelings would have been considered first. I wish that I was given a choice and you could have trusted me enough to come to me first. I ended the interaction by saying that I just needed to step away for a bit because my head was spinning. But that I still love and care about her. I didn't want to lash out at her, so I told her we could talk about it some other time, and reassured her again that I still love her. She responded with, "Okay, love you. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. I'm sorry you've had a bad day and that this contributed to that." And I thought that was the end of that. But not too long after this, I then get a message from my stepmom saying, "Just to be clear, I was not told that this man was a pedophile. I was told that co-venue owner had a fight in a parking lot while drunk and he had a gun with him or something like that. I would never tell anyone to not tell you, venue owner. Did that and to keep it secret. I just didn't want your dream wedding to be ruined over a fight in a parking lot. Good night. Love you." To which I responded, "I love you too. I just need some space for a while to cool down. Good night." Shortly after I sent that message, my bio father calls me and tells me my stepmother is freaking out about me being mad about the situation and that I need to message her to let her know I'm not upset and it's not her fault so that she stops freaking out because it's bad for her Heath. To keep the peace, I ended up messaging her the following. "Me, I'm not mad at you, I don't blame you for anything, I know you had good intentions. I just feel a bit humiliated that I had to find out from a photographer. I'm glad I found out before Save the Dates went out because if anyone looked at the reviews and saw the part where it said asterisk and please for the love of sanity Google search, venue owner's full name plus state and city. This venue is not child-friendly. It is not family-friendly. Asterisk I would have been modified. Even more so if they did Google it and found the articles I did. I'm dealing with a lot of complicated emotions right now. I wish I had been told by my family instead of finding out the way I did. It could have become a really bad situation. But I also understand it can be hard to broach the topic. I just need some time to process my thoughts. I'm not mad at you though. Just the situation as a whole. I'm not mad at you at all. My biggest concern was the P***dophile thing. I get how you would not want to ruin my day over a parking lot brawl. That wasn't my concern. I'm mostly hurt by the other part, and I know that you would have told me had you known." She responded with, "Okay honey, and I'm not happy about this whole situation myself. I'm sure you are shocked and devastated. I don't know what to say, but this is exactly what I was hoping wasn't going to happen. I just didn't know the second piece of this and was getting really confused. Good night." After that, I sulked with my fiancé for a while and then went to bed, because I had to drive several hours for a work trip the next day. While I was driving, my bio father started blowing up my phone. "Bio father, good morning, again I am truly sorry. I hope that this doesn't create resentments towards us. We wanted to figure out how to approach you, stepsister. Didn't say anything because I had asked her to let me deal with it. And again, stepmother was not aware. She did know beforehand, which was proven later in screenshots between her and stepsis, but at the time, I was getting so much conflicting info that I didn't clock the timeline until later. We didn't want you to lose your deposit. I was under the impression that you had put down $4,500 as a deposit and we were devastated to think you would lose your deposit. No other venue lined up and we had no clue how to fix it. Again, we had your best interests at heart and we didn't know how to tell you without ruining your wedding. When I didn't respond because I was in and out of meetings, he forwarded me a message of his correspondence with my stepsister. It came through all as one text message, and I didn't have the time to read the whole thing until much later, but essentially it was them pressuring my sister not to say anything, and pretty much bullying her into thinking I would hate her and she would be doing nothing but ruining everything I worked for if she told me. Then my bio father continues. This is the conversation that occurred when we found out about the gun in the parking lot incident. After that was when I looked him up online and found the article. This will show you that we were all trying to figure out what to do to present this issue to you. This conversation happened on April 9th. We didn't even have time to process it ourselves and try to figure out what to help you with. So all this that you wish your family would have told you, and all you're embarrassed, and all that, guess what, we were trying to look out for you. So if you can't see that, then that's on you. I admittedly didn't read the whole text either until a while later, but I didn't want to make the situation worse, so I responded as quick as I could with, "Hey, I'm just about to jump in a meeting. I was driving when your first message came through, and have been in and out of appointments and meetings since, so I haven't had the time to respond, but I appreciate the apology, and I get you all were looking for me. Just needed a bit to process and plan next steps. Love you." To which he just responded by sending me his last paragraph again. Eventually I was off work and called him, which basically turned into me apologizing for ever saying I was upset. And again, I thought that was the end of that. But then the next day, in the middle of dealing with a crisis at work, I randomly get a text from my stepmother saying, "Stepmother, yours and stepsister's drama has now caused me great distress. I really don't want to hear from either of you. You guys really need to grow up the way that you pretended that you didn't know, stepsister. New trick her just shows that you're craving for drama. I want no part of any of this anymore, and has single-handedly destroyed my relationship with my family member. The news should have been handled in a mature way. You should have addressed the situation and been honest. Because of what you did, stepsister and I are at each other's throat and our relationship is done. I won't talk to her ever again. Thank you." Me, what are you even talking about? I'm so lost and confused. Stepmother, you called stepsister and pretended you didn't know that she knew about the venue issue, and then at the end said, "Oh, but you knew, didn't you?" It's just not the mature way to handle things, and it has turned everyone against each other trying to place blame. My relationship with stepsister is over now. I really can't handle this stuff. I shouldn't even be having to deal with this. I'm sick and now devastated. I ended up going out to my car and calling her to ask her WTF is going on and try to smooth things over. She yelled and cried about how my stepsister and I are ruining her life and reputation with our drama, and how she is the victim in all of this, and I should have handled the situation maturely. I was literally just coming out of a work call that essentially told me that my position I worked years to get into, and was even in the process of relocating for, was being eliminated, and I would either have to accept a demotion or be laid off, when all the messages from my stepmother starts flooding in, and I just didn't have the capacity to deal with this drama on top of that. So when she started laying into me, I started crying hysterically. I honestly just wanted the situation to be over. I felt like me world was crumbling and I was on the edge of a cliff. I cried saying I didn't even care about the stupid wedding venue anymore. That I was over it and wished we could just drop the whole thing and move forward. I essentially just got a brief "sorry that happened to you," and then she continued on about how evil my stepsister is and how she is so sick about the situation and it's affecting her health. I told her I had to go, and I called my bio father and left him a message saying that I don't know what's going on between him, stepsister and stepmom, but I can't handle the drama right now, and that if he could just set the bullshit aside and be a goddamn father to me for 5 effing seconds. I feel like drowning right now and really needed some support. I said all of this while still bawling. He called back a minute later and immediately started in about "how dare you speak to me that way," and went into a lecture about how he is my father and I need to teach him with respect. I just quietly cried to myself, zoning out while he was ranting, until he finally said, "Okay, so what is going on?" By that point I felt so devastated and numb. I just monotonely explained what was said in the work call as brief as I could, and then told him I had to go and thanked him for calling me. I came to a hard realization in that moment. One that I had always known, but never wanted to truly admit to myself. I could be on the edge of a cliff, ready to jump, but if it came between me and his ego, my bio father would push me off. That was when I decided I needed to emotionally distance myself from that side of the family. I kept contact and still spoke with my bio father so that I could remain in my little brother's life, but I kept the conversations mostly about work and game plans for dealing with the situation. It was the easiest thing to talk about, because my bio father liked to give his opinion and has a bit of a savior complex, so these conversations allowed me to stay as emotionally distant as possible while still able to keep the peace. And giving him updates on my job search gave me the excuse to contact him just enough that him and his wife would not start the resentment campaign that they do when someone doesn't contact them in a few weeks, while also showing I was busy enough that I had a valid excuse for not driving the 5 hours one way to visit them any time I had free time. Even more drama erupted after this, which would honestly have to be a whole different post, but I just slowly stopped reaching out. Then I noticed they both unfriended me on Facebook and I decided to put them on an information diet by blocking them. I ended up keeping contact to just birthdays and holidays. Always me messaging them first, and occasionally my bio father would respond with a "you too." I cried when my birthday passed and I didn't so much as get a happy birthday. I wasn't surprised, but it still hurt. And now we are here. We found a new venue and I'm agonizing on whether or not to send them a save the date. Yes, I know I have people pleaser syndrome. I've been working on upping the calcium for my backbone and cutting the bullshit from my diet, but it's been hard, doctor. I keep reflecting on all that had happened, and how this incident really pushed a lot of it into motion. The thing is, I feel like I really did handle it in a mature manner. I let them know I was disappointed and need space, but tried so hard to keep the peace and everything just snowballed from nothing. So I ask, am I the asshole for expressing my disappointment? Should I still invite them to the wedding? If I don't, it would be drawing a line in the sand that I can't come back from.